Over
Yes,
to you, Tim.
Okay, thanks, Malik. Tim MacAndrews is the name, Deputy Provincial Grand Master here in London in the Mark degree. And here I am, all dressed up with nowhere to go. So good afternoon from a beautiful, sunny spring day here in central London. We've just had listed some of the countries where people have tuned in. Absolutely fantastic. I want to wish all of you, wherever you're from, wish you well and wish your families well in the lockdown, whatever the various states of lockdown are, in whichever countries you are listening to this from. They're very troubling times, and as has just been discussed, it's going to be some considerable period of time before Masonry returns to where it was just a few short months ago. In fact, it was only 1 month ago today, I was at my last lodge visit. It was Hibernia Lodge. It was a splendid meeting, but my goodness, that seems like 2 years away. It just seems a lifetime away. Absolutely extraordinary. Time is going so slowly at the moment. Before starting, I'd like to make mention of Worshipful Brother Mahir Killick, who has taken the initiative and has come up with the idea of these weekly gatherings and lectures. I don't know if you all know Mahir. When you meet him, at first he appears a fairly quiet and reserved man, but my goodness, he has a steely determination. He's been responsible in the last few years for the consecration of a number of Turkish-speaking lodges here in London, and he puts in the time, the money, and most certainly the energy into everything he does, and he's an absolute credit to our order. So I want to say well done to you, Malik, publicly. Keep up the good work that you do for our order.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you.
Now today, the astute among you will notice that we're going to be talking about the Royal Ark Mariners. Now I am aware that there will be some brethren listening in who are not members of this order. And indeed, I recall from last week that there may even be a few brethren who are not even Mark Masons yet. So my talk will be appropriate for that. Now the talk is adapted from a lecture given by Worshipful Brother Michael Kahn, past Assistant Grand Sword Bearer, past Provincial Grand Orator in Middlesex. And it is a history of the Royal Ark Mariner degree as practiced in England and Wales under the jurisdiction of the Grand Lodge of Mark Master Masons. The full title of the order is the Ancient and Honourable Fraternity of Royal Ark Mariners, sometimes called Mariners or simply RAM, although the abbreviation to RAM is frowned upon by many members because the word has other connotations, viz. The fact that a ram is in fact an uncastrated male sheep. So if we can try to stick with Royal Ark Mariners, that's all the better. For many Freemasons, even Mark Master Masons who are not mariners, the degree can seem to be just a charming little degree about Noah and the flood, and whose members wear rainbow-coloured aprons. Indeed, it has sometimes been dismissed as being of very little ritual significance. Those who are elevated to become Royal Ark Mariners soon realise that the degree, whilst relatively simple, is in fact quite beautiful, and is certainly not superficial or trivial. The fundamental nature of the Mariner degree is that it further develops the suggestion of the making of a new beginning, or the adoption of a new outlook on life. It is certainly a favourite degree with many experienced Masons, and is held with great affection for its simplicity and strong fraternal existence. An appealing aspect of the degree to many is the uncomplicated regalia. There is a simple apron, a jewel, and then the addition of a collar for officers and past commanders. The jewel, with its distinctive rainbow ribbon, is an emblematical rainbow with a dove bearing an olive branch, a symbol of peace and hope. And that is the basic Royal Ark Mariner jewel. The edge of the apron and the flap are edged in a ribbon of the colours of a rainbow, and the flap is curved, unlike most Masonic apron flaps, which are of course triangular. However, As we could not have a triangular rainbow for practical and obvious purposes, this is what we have to have. The only change to the apron is a silver-coloured triangles replacing the 3 rosettes when reaching the chair, which become gilt with grand rank. And I am wearing the Grand Officer's apron, if you can see it there, and that's the curved part of the apron. The rainbow breast jewel on reaching the chair is then replaced by a triangular shaped breast jewel with the letter N in the centre, standing for Noah. On attaining provincial grand rank, that triangular shaped breast jewel is then replaced by a small neck collarette, which is a suspended silver arc. That silver arc turns to gold on attaining Royal Ark Mariner grand rank, and there is mine. There is no provincial or district structure as such, as all administration above lodge level is undertaken by the mark hierarchy. Therefore, there are few titles and little concerns over rank. The degree has been under the jurisdiction of the Grand Lodge of Mark Master Masons since 1871 and governed by the Grand Master's Royal Ark Council. To be a member, the candidate has to have been advanced as a Mark Master Mason. Now, we have 105 Mark Lodges here in London, and 83 of them have Royal Ark Mariner Lodges attached to, or to use the correct term, moored to them, assuming their numbers, but not necessarily their names. One example might be St. Mark's number 1, whose Royal Ark Mariner Lodge is still number 1, but the Royal Ark Mariners Lodge is called the Mother. Similarly, the Royal Ark Mariner Lodge moored to Keystone Lodge, number 107, is called Hospitaliers. I think that's the right pronunciation, but is still lodge number 107. In chronological terms, the Mariner degree precedes the mark by many, many hundreds of years because it relates to the building and voyage of Noah's Ark and the Great Flood, and therefore has none of the other characters that we tend to meet in Freemasonry. As with Freemasonry generally, the precise origins of the degree are unknown. However, it is considered to be over 200 years old, and as the name suggests, there is a nautical flavour, and it takes for its setting the circumstances leading up to the Great Flood and the steps taken by Noah to build the ark by which mankind was preserved from perishing in the universal deluge. The earliest confirmed record of such a degree being specifically worked is in 1790 in Bath, although the existence of Noah traditions within English Freemasonry is suggested as early as 1726. Whilst in those early days, the degree seems to have been practiced in a variety of ways in many different lodges, there was no Grand Lodge, and as a degree, it began to die out. It is interesting to note that the well-known Freemason Thomas Dunkerley, who was so important in the fortunes of many degrees in Masonry, was also describing himself as in 1793 as the Grand Commander of the Society of Ancient Masons of the Diluvian Order of Royal Ark Mariners. It was Dunkley who appointed one brother Ebenezer Sibley, another man of considerable ability in several fields, as his deputy. Shortly before Dunkley's death, it was Sibley who welcomed Lord Rancliffe as the next Grand Commander. Rancliffe then held office until 1799, after which time the Grand Lodge gradually withered and died. The degree, however, survived and clung on quite tenuously in a number of places. In 1843, an attempt was made by Brother John Dorrington to revive the Grand Lodge of Royal Ark Mariners, but it has to be said that his Grand Lodge was even less successful than the 1793 body. The degree had almost disappeared when a certain Morton Edwards seems to have been fired with the ambition of reviving the Grand Lodge of Royal Ark Mariners. Accordingly, a meeting was held in 1870 in Bow Road, London, and it was agreed to reconstitute a Grand Lodge. Following this, several Mark Lodges began to work the Mariner degree, which caused some conflict with the Grand Lodge of Mark Masonry. Matters were cleared up when the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Mark Master Masons, Canon Reverend G.R. Portal, announced in 1870 that as the degree of Ark Mariner had been worked in so many Mark Lodges since 1790, then the Mark would protect the Royal Ark Mariner degree under a new Grand Masters Royal Ark Council. That is the reason for Mark Grand Lodge having control of the Ark Mariner degree. However, conflict and dissension did continue until the Grand Lodge of Mark Master Masons simply purchased the degree from Morton Edwards in 1884 for the princely sum of £25, which in today's value is just over £3,000. The receipt for that transaction still hangs in Mark Mason's Hall in St James's. Since that time, the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Mark Master Masons of England and Wales and its district and lodges overseas is automatically Grand Master of the Ancient and Honourable Fraternity of Royal Ark Mariners. This inextricably links the two quite separate degrees. From the time that the Grand Lodge of Mark Master Masons assumed the responsibility of the fraternity, it has grown steadily, with two events being of particular note. In 1991, it was decided that the December meeting of the Grand Lodge of Mark Master Masons each year should be given over entirely to the degree of Ark Mariner under the Grand Master's Royal Ark Council. This meeting is held at Freemasons Hall, Great Queen Street, in order to accommodate the numbers who wish to attend. More recently, the Mariner Tracing Board has been reintroduced, it having been out of favour for over 100 years. And in some lodges, they are starting to revive the use of a special floor cloth, which adds much lustre to the ceremonies. There is only one ceremony apart from the installation of a worshipful commander, and that is the ceremony of elevation, which at around 45 minutes is relatively short. Only one ritual is used throughout the Constitution. Most Royal Ark Mariner lodges meet 3 times a year, usually on the same day as their Mark Lodge. In some instances, the Mariner installation may be held at a different meeting, so as to allow the incoming worshipful commander to preside over the festive board and to have his own evening. The officers of a lodge of Royal Ark Mariners are similar to those in a Mark Lodge, although they bear different names. The Master is known as the worshipful commander, the Secretary as the scribe, the inner guard as the guardian, and the tiler as the warder. The principal officers represent Noah, that's the worshipful commander, and 2 of his sons, Japheth, the senior warden, and Shem, the junior warden. The wardens sit, as in the craft lodges of old, in the northwest and southwest of the lodge room, respectively, the deacons being stationed together also in the west. Now, as I explained at the beginning, what I've been talking about here is the English model, where the Mariner degree is always moored to a Mark Lodge and comes under the auspices of the Grand Lodge of Mark Master Masons. It is a different story in some parts of the world. In Scotland, you may be aware that the Mark degree is conferred in a craft lodge as part of the 2nd degree ceremony. The Mariner degree, along with the Red Cross of Constantine, is worked in a lodge attached to a Royal Arch chapter under the control of the Scottish Supreme Grand Royal Arch Chapter. Clearly, there is a prerequisite there that the candidate first joins the Royal Arch, something which of course is not necessary to do in England. In the US, the ritual of the degree comes under the Grand Council of Allied Masonic Degrees of the United States of America. And in Canada, it is confirmed by a council of Royal and Select Masters, bringing the number of degrees worked by the Royal and Select in that country to 4, the 3rd being Super Excellent Master. In addition to the regalia I previously described, in these countries, a rainbow or light green sash is worn in addition. Now, given the international contingent in today's audience, I would be most interested in hearing from some of you, or anyone else that has the knowledge, on 2 particular matters. Firstly, I want to refer back to something that I had said earlier. And I said some lodges are also starting to revive the use of a special floor cloth, which adds much to the lustre of the ceremonies. I have never seen such a floor cloth. I wonder if any of you ever have, and if you have, can you tell us about it? Secondly, I wonder, would be most interested to hear if this degree comes under maybe some of the other progressive orders in other parts of the world. I've given a number of illustrations, the ones I was able to find, but I wonder what happens in the rest of the world. So I'm posing two questions to finish this talk. Thank you very much for the attention you've given me. If you've got any questions, I will try to answer them. Thank you, Mahir.
Well done.
On the question of the floor cloth, are you referring to the green floor cloth, the triangular floor cloth that goes down, or something different?
I was thinking when it talks about a floor cloth, that was a cloth that covered the whole floor.
Yeah, I mean, we have the
What do you use
triangle.
in Australia?
Yes. Sorry?
Tell us what you use in Australia then.
Well, we have a green triangular carpet that's laid down.
Okay, all right.
And that's in the form of a triangle. It's a triangle. And the framulation's all done in the triangular fashion.
So it's a triangular floor cloth.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else got any from the rest of the world? What they might use? Maybe that's the cloth that was referred to then.
In Blackpool, one of the lodges, they use it's a beautiful picture of Noah's Ark, and it's, as far as I can remember, it's on an oblong one with a huge rainbow on it and everything else like that. That's in Blackpool.
Okay, all right. It's interesting. Okay. Any other variations? Or any other questions or comments?
I know what I'd like to see, Tim. The Royal Ark Mariner tracing board is very often a faded sepia direct reproduction of some old tracing board. Has anyone ever created a modern version of it in bright colours and clear objects upon it?
I have one behind me as a backdrop, so to speak, or can't remember what they call it now.
Oh, much better, yes.
You can purchase them from 86A, the shop, £20 sterling. I ordered mine the day of quarterly communication when it was delivered the following day. But it's the brand new design. So it comes the next day by direct delivery, £20 sterling, PayPal.
Lovely, thank you.
There you are, Martin.
We're adopting the same one in Australia.
Sir,
Martin, picture of it again.
Right, Martin, it's Tom Quinn. I've asked the question of Ryan Williams, the Grand Secretary, as to when that version of the Royal Ark Mariner tracing board will be used as in just general course in Mark Mason's Hall, and he tells me it will be happening fairly soon. So those lodges which are lucky enough to use Mark Mason's Hall for the meetings, they needn't worry about buying one because it will be supplied as part of the rent for the temple at 86 St James Street.
Thank you very much, sir.
I was going to make one point. I'm in two Royal Ark Mariner lodges in the province of Worcestershire. The Worcester Lodge, which is Ark 59, doesn't use the triangle or ladder on the floor, but our newly created Morven Priory Lodge 1351, which was consecrated last year, does. And I'm just wondering, are there any other idiosyncrasies or differences, that they use on the floor?
Anybody got any answers to that? As far as I'm concerned, at Mark Mason's Hall, we always have a triangle. Everything is conducted the same. There is only one ritual book. There is only one ceremony, so it shouldn't differ between lodges.
I apologise. The triangle is there always, but there's a triangular carpet.
Oh, I see what you mean. I'm sorry.
And a ladder. Sorry, my apologies.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't use the triangle carpet or the ladder in King's Heath, but I have used it or seen it used in Chepstow, Monmouthshire.
So I think the answer is there's some variation on that, Chris.
Thank you. In fact, I know King's Heath. So are you Staffordshire or Worcestershire?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire, under Mr. Reimer.
That's correct. I'm also Warwickshire Mark and Royal Ark Mariner, but I was advanced in Hong Kong, and then joined 747 Stetchford, but which then, as Stetchford closed down, moved to King's Heath.
Tim.
Hi, you, Joe.
Hi. I was going to say, if you have the latest issue of Freemasonry Today, on page 44 and 45, you will find an article on the Royal Ark Mariners. So you can just pick up your copy if you have it lying around. It's very interesting. And here it does mention that there is a new tracing board, which is being distributed, a much cleaner copy. Yeah, that's right, Shirish. So, and Tim, if I may ask a question. I've read somewhere that in early Freemasonry, even right after the formation of the Grand Lodge, the first few years, the legendary founder of our craft was thought to be Noah and not Hiram Abiff, which was written into the legends a few years after the formation of the Grand Lodge. Have you done anything about this?
No, the only place I've ever heard of Noah mentioned is in the Royal Ark Mariners. I haven't heard him mentioned anywhere else. So I have not heard that before.
Tim, I think, is that a reference to the Graham manuscript of 1726 that you sort of touched on when you mentioned 1726?
I did mention that, yes. That there was mention of mariners vaguely, yes. Correct, Ian.
I think there are potential references which go back much, much further. In fact, the earliest is potentially alleged to be to the Regius manuscript of 1390.
Tim, it's Dave Powell here from Monmouthshire.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Tim. Yeah, my researches on this in putting talks together indicate that pre-1717, the ritual for raising a brother was actually the raising of Noah by his two sons, Japheth and Shem, and that Noah was regarded as the first builder. As we know, Hiram Abiff is a bit of an interloper. He's a bit of a Johnny-come-lately. He didn't appear till the 1730s, 1740s, but that the original ceremony of the raising of a brother was in fact Noah. And early Masons were called Noachida, sons of Noah. I just thought I'd just throw that one in. Sorry, lads.
Thank you for throwing that in, David. That's very useful. Excellent. Excellent stuff.
I think that's a reference to the Graham manuscript of 1726, which I believe is one of the older documents that can be found, that actually lays out the ceremony that's just been referred to, and it's almost an early working of the third degree ceremony, but the raising is of the body of Noah rather than the body of Hiram Abiff.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, there's an earlier reference to that, which goes back to the Cook manuscript, which dates to 1410. Says the same thing.
This is Howard Jones from Thailand. One of the things that's always puzzled me, if I would ask, is why only 2 sons appear in our ritual when there were 3 on the ark.
That's a very good question. Where is Ham? I don't know the answer. Anybody
I
know
can
the
tell
answer?
you the answer.
Come on, David.
Well, Ham disgraced himself in the eyes of the Lord and was cast out.
Yeah, but that was after the events of our ritual.
Yes, but he's been expunged ever after, I'm afraid, because because his crime was so heinous as warranting such a punishment. We shan't go into it here, but
Apparently was to do with raising his father.
Yeah.
No.
But take a look at the Royal Ark Mariner tracing board. Bottom right-hand corner, there are 4 tents. And I've always said that those were for Noah and his wife and the 3 sons.
And their wives.
Well, and they're what? Yeah. Assuming that they're all married then.
Well,
But if you look at the bottom right-hand corner of the tracing board, that's my explanation of it. Nobody else seems to know what they're for, but that's what I assume that they're there. You have a look at the tracing board, bottom right-hand corner.
Just an interesting bit about why Ham fell from grace. It actually really almost wasn't his fault, because Noah was the first, as we know, Noah was the first person in recorded history to have too much to drink and to get drunk. And Ham walked in and saw his father lying naked on the bed. But interestingly, when Noah came to, he didn't curse Ham, he cursed his son. He said, "Cursed be Canaan, a slave shall he be to his brothers." And in ancient maps, if you look at the distribution of the descendants of Noah, it was in Africa. The people of Africa were said to be the descendants of Ham, and that was actually one of the justifications used for slavery back in.
Yes, right. That's true. Yeah.
Tim, it's always another hook to throw at people if we want to get them into the degree. It's always worth asking craft masons why they think there's a dove on the deacon's wands.
Okay, right.
And then there's a hook to throw them in there just to try and drag them in.
Thank you, Ian.
Harry Finn, Hong Kong and Cheshire here. A few years ago, I got whisked into writing a quick lecture to fill in on an evening when we were let down on the candidate. And I did a bit of research and came across a thing, and I can't remember where I saw it, but it said that the porphyry stone is actually the stone of Scone, which is the Scottish coronation stone, which is now up in Edinburgh. Has anybody ever heard anything of that? Particularly those who are in the Royal Order of Scotland might know.
No, not I. No.
Well, there is no reference to the Stone of Scone or Porphyry Stone anywhere in Royal Order of Scotland ritual or ceremony.
Yeah. I must go back and dig it out. I've got it written somewhere, all my sources for that. And at the time, I thought it was a bit odd, but it was quite detailed. I shall see what I can find for the next meeting.
Yeah, nobody else seems to have heard of that, Harry. So please do that and let us know.
It might be the stone that they throw at the English.
One of many.
Here's probably a question. Noah Shida or Noah Chida, it all depends how you say it, is that not a friend of Israel as well? Do they not say that?
My only understanding of it was the son of Noah, Noah Kida, sons of Noah. That was my only understanding of it.
Any more comments, questions, observations?
Hi, Tim. It's Dave Lucas here. Just my mother, Royal Ark Mariner Lodge, Craftsman of Walden in Essex, actually does use a floor cloth, but it's a triangular ribbon. It's about 12 foot by 12 foot by 12 foot and 12 inches wide. And that's the only thing I've ever used. And it's red in colour. And
maybe that's the one that the author was referring to then.
Quite possible, but I think that lodge was put together in the 50s, but they've used it ever since. So every Royal Ark Mariner meeting, they lay out this large red ribbon.
Just in that one. That's just in that one lodge.
That's the only time I've ever seen it. That's my mother, Royal Ark Mariner Lodge.
And does it add anything to the ceremony? Is it of any relevant.
Well, it gives you something to walk on in a triangular direction.
Oh, well, maybe that helps.
It does lay out the triangle for you to walk in a triangular fashion. Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
I don't know whether I can do it, but if I can share a screen, I do have the new Royal Ark Mariner.
That's it, Alan. Well done. You've done it.
With the tents on the bottom
right hand side. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Well
that's why I say that's for the 4 families. And
that is the new one,
including ham.
£20 sterling. £20 sterling from 86A.
Very good. Very good.
I've got to try and stop sharing, and I've got to find my mouse. There we go. Somebody else did it for me. Thank you.
Tim, I have another question for you.
Come on, you, Jill.
I'm again looking at the in the article in the Freemasonry Today, and it says, etc. So how it is different from how the setup of the lodge is different from craft. It says, unusually, the candidate does not take his obligation on the volume of the sacred law as he would in most other degrees of Freemasonry. And we know what we take our obligations on in this degree. So, but is that like, I think I was made to take my obligation on the volume of the sacred law in my RAM lodge. So is there any like direction, guidance on that?
Well, it's all in the ritual book, Hugh Jill.
I'm not going to tell you where I
what is your mother Royal Ark Mariner? You Joe, what is your mother lodge, Royal Ark Mariner lodge? You chill, it's Tom.
He is in Onslow, Tom. He's in Onslow.
Okay, well, and is that where he was?
Yujal, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yujal's mother lodge was Highgate, but then he's also a founder of Gallipoli Ram. Yujal, can you hear us?
Hello?
Yes, now he can hear us.
Hello?
Okay.
Tom, sorry, I heard you. Highgate is where, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you.
I was thinking you're in Onslow. You're not in Onslow, are you? You're a Highgate.
Highgate.
Highgate's a fairly.
I was not going to get them in trouble now.
Like, yeah, you might be, because I'll need to make some investigation. But Highgate's a fairly young lodge, so it's not got a huge years and years of tradition. I'd be surprised. It might have been going on because you couldn't notice what was going on. So,
right. I don't mind. Don't worry.
I've got a question, if I could.
Hi, Simon.
Hello there. Obviously, as you quite rightly pointed out, Tim, in a Mark Lodge, you've got a worshipful master. In a Ark Mariner Lodge, see what I did there, you've got a worshipful commander. Why is the provincial and grand master, so-called, not a provincial or grand commander?
Because it's covered by Mark. It fits into the Mark structure. Anything over the basic lodge then fits straight into the Mark structure. Simple as that.
Thank you very much.
Any more?
Just on the
I'd like to say
duties.
thank you, Tim, for the lecture. Thank you very much indeed. Enjoyed by it. Everyone, I would assume.
Enjoyed it, John. Excellent.
I certainly did.
How's life in Berkshire, John? All right?
Sorry?
How's life in Berkshire?
I live in Northamptonshire.
Oh, you're Northamptonshire. Okay.
Yeah, I actually live there. I might do masonry in Berkshire and London.
That's what it is.
But I am a member of a Mark Lodge in Northamptonshire.
Okay.
And Tim, he lives very close to where the Royal Order of Scotland meets in Corby. So
That's
you and I
correct.
will have another discussion with him the next time we see him.
Well, bring the form then. Next time I see you, have the form with you.
That won't be a problem. Tom carries forms with him. Don't worry about that.
It'll be in your inbox in half an hour's time.
Thank you.
This is Bill Sardone. I'm a Grand Master of New York.
Hello, Bill.
And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be together. While I have you on the line, I'm doing 5 lodge meetings a night. I have Zoom meetings where I have a cooking show coming up for our members. We did a magic show the other night.
Wow.
I have 400 new applicants a month that want to know about masonry that are coming in.
Wow.
I have, on my other line right now, I have 600 members in Lebanon that are on Zoom that we're talking with them. And we're using this opportunity to grow and not slow down. And I want to thank you for the opportunity of allowing us to be here. God bless all of you. God bless our great Masonic fraternity. And God bless all the opportunities we have to be together again.
So, Bill, it's great to see you here. Where are you doing your cooking? This is to get craft new Masons in, is it? Or
Well,
to
no,
attract
we
people
have
to Cork?
we have existing members.
Yeah.
We have existing members that think they're good cooks, and they're
Right.
showing us their recipes.
That's
So we
absolutely
have
crazy. Wow.
this Friday night at 7 p.m. New York time. We have one of our members is going to make his famous meatloaf on the grill. And then we're going to take all their recipes. When they're all done, we're going to put them together in a book, and we're going to publish them when we're all done with this. We're shut down until May 15th at least.
Yeah.
And then we don't know what we're going to do after that. And we're abiding by the governor as well as our health officials.
Fantastic, Bill. Delighted to have you here. Amazing.
And we had a DeMolay boys came on, and they did a magic show for a little bit for us. Then we had a real magician came on. He said he was semi-professional, and that gave us, I said semi, this way if a trick didn't work, it was only because he's only a semi-professional.
Very good.
We had a senator on with us. We did a one-on-one with a senator. I have a one-on-one coming on this Thursday with a member of FEMA. So we have every night we have something going on virtually, and we're keeping everybody together. And I want to thank you, by the way, for putting this together. I enjoyed it very much.
That's Maher Killick is the man responsible, and he's doing a great job. Great job. Good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Are we all done, Maher?
Brethren, if you do not have any more questions, we will call the day off. I guess Ian Sinclair wants to ask something. Is it?
Hello, can you hear me, Brother Brent?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, Wish Brother Tim, thank you very much for your informative talk. Brother Maher, thank you for organizing. Really appreciate it. My question is regarding the degree that is known in Scotland and England as a Cork degree. Do you happen to know anything about it? How is it connected to RAM? Because the Cork degree is also based around the legend of Noah. So my question was
Amir, I'm passing that over immediately to our provincial Grand Master, who knows all matters Scottish.
Oh, perfect. Because my question is whether the Cork degree is a completely new sort of invention that happened after the RAM degree, or is there anything from like the early RAM ritual that made its way into Cork?
This is an easy one for me to answer because I know about the Cork degree, but I don't know anything about it. But Chris Brown, you've got your microphone off. If you're in a Scottish unit that meets somewhere between Dundee and Aberdeen, do you know about the Cork degree?
I'm from Malvern in Worcestershire, so
well, who's the man from Aberdeen and Dundee? Paul Love. Paul, do you want to tell us about the Cork degree?
Sorry about that. I struggled to unconnect it. Yeah, I did my Cork attached to Royal Arch chapter in Montrose, number 3 Enoch. They were taken by surprise when I turned up because I wasn't expecting a candidate. In all honesty, that's the only time I've ever been to a Cork degree, and it was, I've got to be polite now, because I'm being recorded. It wasn't the best. They wasn't expecting a candidate. Plenty of people there who had to take office had never taken office much before. It was very fun, very joyous. There was lots of silly hats and lots of drinking. That's pretty much all I remember, in all honesty. I got given a little certificate and a little pin. Where I am an expert, if you wanted to go into this another time, is a squareman, because I hold the highest rank you possibly can get in the squareman. But that's obviously another conversation for another day if you want to come back to that. But I'm afraid I'm going to let you down on the Cork. I do know a gentleman that can come back and give you all the necessary answers, but my Cork degree was done about 7 years ago. It lasted about 45 minutes, and they were very drunk when they done it, so I can't really offer you much guidance on that, I'm afraid.
So, Paul, when you say the Cork degree, you are talking about the degree of a Royal Ark Mariner, yes?
No, the Cork degree
else?
it's an appendant degree. Yeah, ye old noble Cork. If you just bear with me, I'm going to get my Cork pin if I can
It's
find it.
Ye Ancient Order of Noble Corks.
Noble Corks, yes. Bear with me, I'll just see if I can find the pin.
So this is nothing to do with the Royal Ark Mariner?
Not that I'm aware of, no, apart from the connection with it all is water, obviously, because it's all sea-based faring. You went through a ship type thing and being selected for it, but it made no real reference to the Royal Ark Mariners that I recall.
Okay.
Bear with me just a sec.
It's actually run more for charities, isn't it? It's a fun degree, and most of your officers carry naval titles, like the rather worshipful admiral,
yes,
and the uncommonly worshipful mate.
Yes, it's all a fun degree, much in the same ways that the squareman's a fun degree. The squareman is, if any of you in military, you know what a smoker is. The squareman's a smoker of the second degree and the mark degree. It's a combination of the two. And the Cork is, it was kind of loose when I was there, if I was honest with you. It wasn't something I would recommend joining.
I want to be a squareman then. If
There
it's
is
like a smoker.
There is reference on Wikipedia about the Cork degree, and it does show the structure and various bits and pieces if brethren are interested. But it's quite interesting, but fun.
Yeah, is the Salmon degree also connected to the legend of Noah in any shape or form, or is it just another sort of side fun degree?
As I understand it, in England, it's not considered to be a Masonic degree at all. And I believe they say it has no direct connection with any Masonic degree as far as practiced in England.
Which one are you talking about just there, the squareman?
No, Corkies.
Yeah.
Corkies, yep.
Thank you very much.
According to this, we've actually got one in Brisbane, the only one in Australia, and I've never heard of it here.
All right.
Brethren, has anyone has any questions to our worship of the team?
No, thanks, Maher.
Right, we're going to call the meeting off. Brethren, just before we all leave, next week, Tuesday, we're going to have Provincial Junior Grand Warden, our worshipful brother Chris James, will be giving a lecture about well-known Freemason and poet Rudyard Kipling. So that will be again announced on our Provincial and the Mark Facebook pages. Please do join us. It will be the same meeting number and same meeting password for next time that you want to join. You won't have to basically trouble yourself. You need to keep that on a side. Same username, a meeting number, and same password. You can get into this room. Thank you very much for joining this meeting, brethren. This meeting video will be shared in about half an hour on the province website and the Mark Master Mason's website.
Well done, Maher. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Very much, everybody.
Bye.
Everyone.
Well done.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, brethren.
Bye.
See you soon.
Goodbye, all.
Cheers, all.
Take care. Thank you again for the degree. It was wonderful.